Right? Okay. So, greeting debaters. I am Mehak Ludrani, your room coordinator for this session. Welcome to the semi-final round of the Two debate competition. A huge congratulations to all the teams for making it this far. You have demonstrated remarkable debating skills, and we have excited to witness another round of thought-provoking arguments. I hope you have understood the rules that were explained in the main breakout room. If anyone is having any kind of doubt regarding the rules, I can read out all the rules again. If
Nothing
not,
much.
we can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like to introduce our judges for today. Shri Ajay R. Singh, Advocate, LLB, LLM, Constitutional Law, Mumbai University, practicing since 2000 before the Supreme Court, High Court, and tribunals, specializing in taxation, REITs, and real estate. Filed PILs on tax issues, co-authored books, and contributed to tax journals. Frequent speakers at ICAI, AIFTP, and chambers of consultants. This is our first judge. Second, we have Dr. Mrs. Naina M. Nair, experienced academician in English literature, teaching at CES Valia College since 1997, holds a PhD from Mumbai University on Indian epics in children's literature, contributor to university syllabus, committees, international conferences, and library events. Award-winning researcher, speaker on communication and storytelling, and judge for cultural competition. These are our two judges. Thank you so much, judges, for joining us today. Let us start with the debate competition now. We are
Yes.
starting with the first debate of the semi-final round, and the topic for the same is freebies offered by political parties during elections are a form of bribery and undermine in the democratic process. So, team 4 will be starting, and we'll begin with the debate now.
Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon to everybody here. I just want to give a disclaimer that we are not pinpointing any of the political party and let this debate be an ethical debate. Starting, I just want to start with very basic concept. Why is election necessary? It is because every individual wants a one leader or a representative who will lead the government and for betterment of public and betterment of country. Now, what is freebie exactly? Freebie can be described as an offering. It can be either in a monetary value or it can be any gadget which will help public, and it is done to attract the voters or it is done to influence the voters. Now, what is the bribery concept in this? So, bribery, as per central government has defined bribery as any offering done by a person or a candidate or an agent of such candidate gives any person any gives any public offerings which will influence their mindset, which will influence their votes in elections.
This is Rushti Mehta here and would like to continue with it. Bribery, how how is this bribery? How is the providing freebie is bribery? Now, bribery through freebies can happen when political parties or government offer material benefits such as free goods and services with direct or indirect intention to influence these voters and get their votes in exchange. Now, this situation can lead to undue influence, that is, unfair influence on the electoral process, and it undermines the core principles of democracy. Now, how is this affecting constitution? Now, promising freebies without a clear financial plan or or without a clear financial picture, longer financial picture, it can hinder the public treasure or the or it can hinder the fiscal discipline, which is causing irresponsible expenditure. Now, this goes against the principles of public accountability and fiscal disciplines, fiscal responsibilities given in the Constitution. Now, while the FRBM Act focuses on fiscal discipline, the unchecked promises of freebies may contribute to blind financial commitments, which is burdening the state economically and financially. Now, this can violate the principle of sustainable governance in the constitution. Even also want to add that even Nirmala Sitharaman distinguishes free healthcare and free education from the unnecessary freebies provided by the political parties, and she calls it and often warns that these promises often lack financial feasibility and is a burden to the country.
This is also affecting Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act, as it is affecting fiscal discipline. Now, fiscal discipline, what does fiscal discipline mean? Fiscal discipline means the expenditure that the government are making for public welfare. And of course, it has to be for public welfare. It cannot go in individual's pocket. It should always be from the perspective of offering to public. Now, I would like to say what are the articles which are getting affected, like the articles of the constitution. First, the article 14. Now, article 14 states that equality should always be before law. If any political party is providing any offering or freebies to any certain amount of, like, certain people, like certain category of people, then it will not be justifiable to every other public, because political parties are appointed for whole nation, like for whole public. It is not just for category, like some category of people. It is for everybody. So it will create unfair influence on the electoral process. This is why Article 14 is getting affected. Now, Article 19. Article 19 states that every person, every individual has its own opinions, own choices that he will make while appointing any person. If any political party is providing offerings or cash, this will influence the mindset of the voter, and hence Article 19 will be violated. Since Constitution wants every person to appoint a leader as per their choice, not as per the bribery or as per the offerings they are providing. Offerings should not be the category for which they should provide. It should be the long-term vision of the political party. Like, what will political party do for that public? It should not be like, we are providing cash, so give us the vote. No, it should be like, we will provide you all the facilities in all the 5 years that we are appointed. This is how Article 19 will be affected. Also, the election commission, like the responsibility of election commission is to conduct the votings, like conduct the election fairly. And if bribery is done, like if these freebies are going as from a bribery perspective, the motive of election commission to conduct the election free and fairly will get affected. This is how Article 325 of the Constitution is getting affected.
Now, when these political parties promise freebies to gain votes, they may prioritize short-term electoral gains and not long-term development plans and governance. Now, this creates a voter manipulation wherein even the voters who are voting they blindly just vote for those short-term gains and not thinking about the long-term plans or their long-term social welfare. Now, this also creates a dependency syndrome. These freebies may create a culture of dependency, reducing the individual's capability to start employment or improve its own productivity. Now, this in turn creates poverty and inequality rather than resolving the problem of poverty and inequality, which indirectly breaches the principles of Constitution. Okay, we are done.
Should I start?
Yes, please.
Yes. So, first and foremostly, greetings to the honorable panel and also the co-speakers from the opponent team. Before starting with this debate, I believe that certain important conditions and certain important terminologies of the entire scope of debate needs to be thoroughly established. Firstly, what exactly do we mean by freebies? If we understand the 22nd report given by the RBI, it states freebies are defined as a public welfare scheme that is given free of charge to public at large. It essentially includes the entire arena of monetary as well as welfare schemes which are provided to the communities at large in kinds. Hence, it is a wholesome terminology which is used throughout. Secondly, if we understand the very narrow and a legal scope of what do we mean by a bribe. if you go towards the understanding of the Prevention of Corruption Act, what we understand is that bribe is any kind of undue advantage which is given to a public servant or by a public servant for wrongfully committing his duty or for underperforming his duties altogether. Now, the entire theme of debate as of now is limited is this particular freebie categorically can be classified as a bribe to its voters at large so as to get their performance, so as to undervalue their performance and give undue advantage at large. Your Honor, learned speakers, as well as the learned panelists of today's debate, we are against this particular motion, and we believe that freebies in general, as a matter of policy, are not in the nature of bribes. On the other hand, this is in order to forward the constitutional obligation on the state of redistribution of wealth and ensuring that the last possible person is brought within the main purview, within the mainstream of the society at large, by providing him such circumstances, such needs, which he is generally, what you can say, withdrawn with or is taken away with because of lack of certain adequacies. Hence, we are opposing this motion. To begin with, first and foremostly, what exactly is the constitutional mandate of the entire freebies at large? If you go to articles present in Part 4 of the Constitution of India, which deal elaborately with the DPSPs, Directive Principles of State Policy, which confer responsibility upon the state to ensure that multiple obligations come into picture, the prominent one being distribution of wealth. That is, the people who are belonging from the privileged communities and the people belonging from the impoverished communities, the gaps between them are expected to be bridged. This bridging of gaps can be done by redistribution of sources. Now, when we say redistribution of sources, it essentially means providing such people who are disadvantaged from a particular community such services which they cannot avail otherwise. Apart from that, just to also give an ancillary view of other things, which includes right to survival, right to education. We also have right to equality, right to life, right to livelihood. If we consider panorama of all these constitutional obligations, we'll find that freebies given to satisfy and ensure that all these rights are realized. For example, in case of right to education, the very aim of giving free bus passes, the aim of giving free schools, the aim of giving electronic as well as educational gadget is something essentially to realize the ultimate aims of the fundamental rights guaranteed to people at large. Same goes with the introduction of entire Article 21A. As a consequence, firstly, to ensure that the constitutional obligation of welfare of people under DPSPs is satisfied, and also the fundamental rights of life, liberty, education, etc., do not remain on mere paper, and to forward those is the main aim of these freebies. Hence, we consider that those are actually in consonance with the constitutional principles and not amounting to bribery or violation of the constitutional principles. Over to my co-speaker.
Good afternoon to the panel and the co-speakers. I will be speaking. I'm the co-speaker of the team nine. And continuing with my co-speaker, that how he defined the bribery as a definition, and also there is a definition which is mentioned in the.
Your voice is bouncing. Can echo.
Yes, you're audible.
You.
Am I audible now?
Yes. Yes. Yes, please.
Continuing with the bribery's definition, which is mentioned in the
Representation of Peoples Act 1951, which states that if that is a monetary benefit or any goods which is given in order to transform it into a people's vote. And considering that my co-partner's freebies definition, it specifically says that nothing is.
So sorry to interrupt you. So sorry. I'm afraid now it's not clear. It's not loud enough. Very sorry. Or is it just me?
And continuing with the definition of freebie, which was spoken by my co-speaker, there is nothing that is expected out of it. These are the things which government distributes just for the benefit of the society at large. And may I seek extension of 1 minute? That it was a technical glitch over there. And
yeah, continue, please.
And also continuing with that. There was in the state of Uttar Pradesh, there were distribution of laptops and bicycles, which was given to the female communities in order to enhance their education, enhance their commutations to their schools, which eventually helped them in increasing their literacy rates, which also indirectly or directly helps in the economy of the country. And also talking about that bribery is a quid pro quo, which is means that something is expected out of it. But in freebies, there is no expectations. Even people in today's scenario are well educated. They knew what sort of government should we elect, and what are the expectations with that political party. And also now talking about the democracy, freebies are just distributed mere from the part of the political parties in order to enhance the economy. There is a different objective which is aligned with it. For example, if there is a distribution of mobile applications, it is expected that the people will use it in a bona fide way, and they will know about their rights, they will know about the government policies, they will know about the fine, and they will also get in lines with the future objectives of the country, like make in India projects or the digitalization. And considering about the democracy, it is not necessary that if a political party provides with freebies, the people will vote in favor. There are clear examples in the state of Rajasthan and in the state of Tamil Nadu. It was clearly seen that despite distributing freebies, the political parties lost their elections. That doesn't mean that freebies just bribe someone in order to vote in the favor of the political party. And continuing with that, if freebies are to be seen in the form of a bribery, then even in Delhi elections, the other party would have won. And also, if in democracy, people basically know that for whom they need to vote for, and what are they expecting out of that. Over. And that's all, Your Honor.
Okay. Now who is next? Mehak?
We can start with the rebuttal.
Yeah. My opponent, like he said, freebies are for the benefit of the society at a large. So let's understand and define freebies carefully. There's a thin line between freebies and social welfare schemes or social welfare expenditure done by government. Now, when government is providing, for example, IRCTC providing railway tickets at a cheaper rate so that people who cannot afford travel cost can afford through these cheaper tickets, bus tickets, which are very cheap. So this is social welfare and benefiting society at a large, and not creating dependency on these political parties or these uh, government.
If at all I were to respond to this particular thing.
Yes.
Yes. So as I stated earlier as well, that freebies is a scheme, is an entire arena of social welfare schemes when the scheme is provided to the ultimate beneficiary at large without any expectation or incurring costs from that particular beneficiary at large. As pointed out by the learned speaker in this particular point, that if we are sitting to classify what can be considered as freebie, as in the freebies which are given to the impoverished class are in the nature of freebies. But for example, if we have the pension schemes, that is the direct benefits given to the retired personnel or even to people belonging from special disabled categories at large, that is direct benefit of transfer. We have to have a clear identification that when it comes to freebies, it is often considered into a negative connotation, but essentially it is a public welfare outlook altogether. It is often conceived in a wrongful fashion because often these schemes are announced prior to elections or near about to election. But if you consider democracy at large, the party who thinks or party who makes policies for a particular person or group, which is their constitutional obligation, that is something which they're actually expected to do. Hence, if we were to classify it, as of now, there is no classifiable difference. What we can definitely understand is further exploitation by the beneficiaries at large. But as a policy, if we consider the welfare schemes free of cost, do not violate the principles, rather promote the principles, is what we contend.
You said that it is a constitution obligation. Then why is this obligation only affected, or only it is said before elections, not throughout, like throughout the year, or throughout the 5 term of period? Why is it just before the elections, and why it is only to certain category of people? If it is a constitution obligation, then it is for the people of whole nation, not just few people.
if I were to just answer this question, that under the very article which the learned speaker as of now cited, when it comes to Article 14, it rather empowers that reasonable classification needs to be done, and people who are unlike each other cannot be classified as alike. So the people who are actually undergoing economic poverty, social backwardness, people who are people who are because of social circumstances deprived from the mainstream, if a classification has been made, if a targeted group of beneficiary schemes is identified, and if in pursuance of that the schemes are forwarded, it is indeed in pursuance of that itself. Just to again exemplify, when it comes to students' right to education at large, the very fact that free bus passes are given to the school children, the very fact that without any kind of incurring fees of impoverished children alone, if at all free of cost education is provided to them, academic supplies are given to them, even that can be per se classified as freebies. But we again need to understand this particular fact that those people come into the identifiable lower income group mandated and in sync with the constitutional provisions of Article 14. Hence, those are targeted towards the impoverished group. Hence, the classification becomes necessary.
Yes. Any rebuttal on this? Team 4.
I just want to ask one question. If at all any political party is providing any free of services or free of any of the commodity, will this not affect our budget, like the budget deficit for that particular state? Because they are expecting in return is the votes. And if the as one of the opponents said that it is not necessary that they are getting the votes, but this is also affecting the budget of that state, right?
In order to grow, you need to spend first. This is a basic.
Sorry, you are not audible actually.
Am I audible right now?
Speak a bit louder. Get close and speak a bit louder.
Am I audible right now?
Yes, yes.
So in order to gain, in order to achieve the future objectives, you need to spend first. And considering the freebies which are distributed, these are distributed with the objective. And considering the freebies that are distributed like mobile applications and the laptops and bicycles, which indirectly or directly helps the lower class people or the people which are classified specifically or the targeted people in enhancing the development of that particular region or their personal development, so that they can focus more on their education and also on their on the work that they are doing.
But like
This can be sorry.
Sorry, continue.
This can also be termed as short-term political gains.
Yeah, so like we said, why is it not distributed for the entire year and only during the election period? That clearly means that this is to attract votes and to get public attention. It is a clear publicity stunt.
If I were to respond to this particular contention, I would again like to tell that policy-wise decision can be taken. What exactly are the intentions of those policies? But when we see free of cost public welfare schemes as a principle, as a matter of state's identified policy, that inherently does not continue all these or consist all these infirmities as pointed out by my learned speakers. When we say that a particular policy is problematic, that can be definitely taken care of, cognizance can be taken, actions can be initiated. For example, recently in Maharashtra, we have this particular direct benefit transfer scheme, which was challenged. So on policy to policy basis, it can be challenged, but we cannot deny the fact that when we consider free of cost, what we can say benefits at large, which are as of now given, for example, the relief packages, which are given for the people who suffer some kind of natural disaster. COVID example was the biggest example of it, wherein a substantial chunk of food grain without any cost was given to an impoverished section. Similarly, as I said, pension schemes, welfare pension schemes, or even Ayushman Yojana for that matter, where a substantial chunk of medical insurance or a medical medical costs are given free of cost. Now, these are some things which are done for, if we consider the current example of government, since the inception of the government in the present power at large. So when we say in principle, Those do not affect, of course, on policy basis, individual basis, state to state basis, differences can be maintained. But in principle, it is rather forwarding of the economic obligations and social obligations levied on the state at large.
Like I said, there is a thin line between freebies and social welfare. The relief packages, the Ayushman Yojana that you mentioned, are social welfare schemes and not freebies provided by the government. Freebies are clearly something that is provided free of charge and clearly aimed at voter appeal. Now, once again, there was a scheme wherein Ladli Behan Yojana scheme, which was clearly a freebie, wherein 1,500 rupees was deposited to their account, which has clearly lead to a budget deficit and a financial cost cutting problem.
If I were to ask the learned speaker, can you just point out three differences or defining features between a freebie and a public welfare scheme? Because if you consider the entire spectrum at large, paying pensions or relief packages to impoverished section is considered as welfare scheme. But giving pensions to impoverished females so that they can go on for their financial independence is considered as a freebie. So as of now, I'm unable to conceive what the learned speaker is trying to say. Any defining feature which distinguishes between both? Any of the two co-speakers? I'll be really grateful to be enlightened.
Yes, team 4.
She asked what
Yes,
she asked was in different point. Like there is a thin line, she said. So she is asking you some different question, and you are saying about how is this different?
So as I said, when she was asking that there is a thin line, so I just want to know what is that thin line? What is the principle, test, parameter on which we can classify? If relief
Voting.
packages.
And elections. Freebies are provided specifically during elections.
Exactly. The COVID-19 point of is a clear scheme which was provided for the welfare of the country.
So can we consider that if at all a particular policy is declared within 6 months of election, that is a freebie, but if it is declared 6 months prior to that, it is a welfare scheme? Is that the test which the learned speakers are applying? Otherwise, the principle is same, giving free of charge benefits to the ultimate beneficiary. So if it is given within 6 months,
Time's up.
Sorry.
Team 4 can start with the conclusion.
To conclude, while addressing the challenges posed by freebies, especially using the word elections, it is essential to differentiate between welfare measures aimed at socio-economic upliftment and populist giveaways that create dependency to the citizens. Now, promote programs that enable empowerment and productivity, such as skill development, employment generation, and digital inclusion. Now, this should also ensure physical discipline to avoid long-term economic instability, because why elections are held? Elections are held to vote so that citizens can vote their governor for a long period, for a longer development plan. Uh, Again, adopting a structured and transparent approach, the government can strike a balance between the basic needs of the citizens and ensuring long-term and sustainable development. Now, the competition to offer increasing promises, which will lead to erosion of public trust in governance as voters become blindly delusioned by the gap between promises and delivery.
As Vrishti mentioned, this will lead to a blind voting. Freebies also give false hopes to the voters. This is because government, like the political party, can change their mindset anytime, because the voters, they depend on them if they are providing freebies, because they do not have certain facilities, and if somebody is providing the facility, they will be wholly dependent on them. And also, the Constitution of India wants free and fair elections. The election commission is appointed for that purpose only. So if it is not properly, if it is not fair, then there's no motive of doing an election. Thank you.
Thank you.
For 1 minute.
Concluding with that, that freebies have a different objective compared to the social welfare schemes, as freebies are just in a par with them. They are they are distributed in order to implement the social welfare schemes effectively. And these are not just done during the elections. These can be done throughout the reign of a political party. It is not specific that something is expected out of it. If something was expected out of the freebies, then it could have been a bribery. And eventually, if even India has seen in their past history that freebies has never led to a positive election in every sphere. There are instances where freebies, that despite distributing freebies during the time of elections, the things didn't went in a play of a political party that wanted it to be.
Ma'am, I just want to say a line. Can I just, or it will be a negative point?
We have a
I
time
think so.
taken.
Let the other team complete, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was complete. Sorry.
Yes. Moving on to continue the points made by my co-speaker, that again, just to understand that when we say freebies, it is a negative connotation which is unfortunately attached to public welfare schemes at large. Unfortunately enough, we still live in a country where a substantial chunk of population is deprived even of basic facilities. And when we say that the additional charges or additional leverages are given to the people from impoverished sections, that is in addition to realize the constitutional principles at large. So this negative connotation is something which is depraving, or rather actually hindering the legible ultimate beneficiaries which the government is aiming to go for. With due consideration to the concerns raised by my opponent speakers, that yes, the schemes may be directed towards gaining votes for the sole purpose, but that doesn't mean that there aren't genuine beneficiaries of the scheme at large. The fundamental example of is what we can consider is the home distribution scheme. The home distributions to the people who are landless laborers, the people who do not have land, people who do not have substantial houses to live. When we say that every action is directed towards gaining vote, isn't that actually in the line of democratic principles altogether? I'm sorry, we have 2 minutes to conclude. Yes, sorry. So this is what we wanted to conclude. Thank you.
Yes, Mehak. Now the rounds are over. Done.
Yes, the round is over.
Okay.
So let
We
me,
have anything we can put the questions to the participants? Anything is there like that?
if you want to, you can judge, please.
Okay. Madam, will you like to have any questions? Neena, madam.
Well, right now, no.
Okay, so the rounds are over, right, Mehak? Or
Yes,
there is something.
this round is over as the team participants has concluded their points as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, judges, do you have any question to them or should I conclude?
Yeah, from my side, you can conclude.
Okay. So, another impressive round of debate is over. As our judges finalize their assessments, we request participants to wait in the main breakout room where the results for this round will be announced. A huge thank you to our estimated judges for the time, expertise, and valuable insights in evaluating today's debates. Your guidance is truly appreciated. The top two teams will move forward to the grand finale where there will be competition for the ultimate title. Wishing all the teams a very best from my side and from the team. Participants, please, you can leave this room and you can join in the main breakout room where the results will be declared. Thank you so much for your time and cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Mehak, can I and Neena be put in a room so that we can speak to each other?
Yeah, we'll put you in the main room.
Yes.